Hey, what up? What up? It's Breezy. We're going to be talking TeaMarr, The Misadventures of Awkward Black Girl, Lovebirds, and the Photograph today. Yes, it's Issa Rae themed, so tune in and let go.
I got an excess of black bile, high irascibility, contemplating checking myself into facility, mental ability clearly affected,
Deep in the dumps, down and dejected.
I've been in low power mode. In low power mode. Been in low power mode all year. Think it's time to switch it up to high gear. I've been in low. I've been in low power mode all year. Think it's time to switch it up to high gear.
Hey, what up? It's Breezy. Welcome back to the Low Power Mode podcast. And happy Black History Month. I'm going to plug that as much as I possibly can. This is the first episode since launching and releasing and promoting the podcast on my social media platforms. So thank you so much for signing up. It's so nice to have listeners, and I feel like I'm starting a conversation, like it's just, we're all just talking, except it's just me talking. Okay, that doesn't sound fun or healthy, but don't think of it as an actual relationship, but think of it as a hangout, Oh God, I feel like I'm already fitting into the theme of this of this episode. So I was thinking, who is just who am I so inspired by lately? And it's absolutely 100% Issa Rae. Now, if you've been living under a rock, her 5-season show on HBO called Insecure just ended. And I'm not over it. There's still a lot to unpack. But so many other Black creatives are talking about Insecure, and I thought it would be so fun to go back and rediscover, because I've already explored it, but rediscover Issa Rae's early work with her web series, The Misadventures of Awkward Black Girl, which was the precursor to her show on Insecure. And then once Insecure started poppin', which was year one, the opportunities came for movies and stuff like that. So this episode has an Issa Rae theme. And I thought, wow, what better Black, yes, Black woman, Black creative, but Black spirit. I don't know. Issa said on the red carpet somewhere, I'm rooting for everybody Black. And it just really feels like if you're a Black creative, it feels like Issa Rae is in your corner, which is huge, because being an artist is daunting. So we're talking about a super DIY OG, digital web OG, and Black folks are so innovative. So yeah, Issa Rae, mother from Louisiana, father from Senegal, and I think she spent her childhood in Maryland and then moved to LA in middle school or something. Also spent some time in Senegal. So she's got this double consciousness in terms of being Black American and being a Black African. And yeah, she is so amazing. So I'm going to jump right into music. Okay, so TeaMarr. So if you've been a fan of Insecure, the TV show, the music has been such a huge part of the show. And behind the scenes, Issa Rae was developing a music company that acts kind of as a label, kind of as a sync company that puts music to TV and commercials and visuals, acting as an quote unquote audio everywhere company. And TeaMarr was Issa's like first kind of artist to sign on to Raedio, her this like music company. So TeaMarr, yeah, and then TeaMarr's music was in Insecure, and it was so poppin'. And I remember when I discovered TeaMarr, I got everyone within my vicinity. I was like, "Do you know TeaMarr? Do you know TeaMarr?" Just amazing. So TeaMarr is a Haitian American singer, can flow. She describes herself as a musical pharmacist. She spells her name TEA, like TeaMarr, and she's got this whole like healing thing with her music. She describes herself as a mix between Biggie and Amy Winehouse, which I adore. And yeah, she's amazing. I love her because she, while she seems very, yeah, like healing and incense and tea, she's also amazingly unapologetic, and in her music videos, the wit and the humor, it's amazing. I love that like Issa as a Senegalese American, Yvonne Orji, Nigerian American, TeaMarr, Haitian American. Like, it's so dope to see this sort of, I don't know, different representations of parts of the diaspora within Black America. It's dope. So the podcast is high power mode today. So TeaMarr is so dope. I just was looking up some facts about her and found out that she went to Bridgewater State University, where my mom works. Random. She grew up in like on the East Coast, like Boston area, and started pursuing music. And so one thing led to another, and then Issa Rae, and her met, and it was a rap. And so they did all these really fun music videos together. Like, Issa is backing her. TeaMarr is also signed with another label. What is it called? Position Records or something like that. But yeah, this partnership, I love it. So there's a track that TeaMarr does called Kinda Love. Oh, but before I talk about Kinda Love, I just found out that the track she does called One Job, she wrote it with another person for Rihanna, and Rihanna was working on a reggae album, was like, it's not really my vibe right now. And so that's why TeaMarr ended up singing it, and amazing. So definitely check out One Job. But the song I want to focus on is Kinda Love, because so I love Black women. I love feminism. I love wit and comedy that's not like ha ha, like slapstick, but like you have to kind of look for it or notice it or catch it or find it. And this is everywhere in these videos. So basically, she has Kinda Love, where it's just her. And then she releases Kinda Love featuring D Smoke, who, if you follow TDE, the LA label with Kendrick Lamar, Schoolboy Q, J Rock, Isaiah Rashad, SZA, like dream label. TDE, what was I talking about? Stay focused, stay focused. TeaMarr, damn it. Did I just lose what I was saying? Okay, whatever. It's gonna come back to me. It's gonna come back to me. Right, D Smoke. Okay, so Sir is another artist on the TDE label, and I believe I haven't seen that reality competition hip hop show with Cardi B, Chance the Rapper, and T.I., but I'm pretty sure D Smoke won that, and D Smoke turns out to be Sir's younger brother. So amazing. Love it. Love to see these collaborations. And so for the first, she put out 2 whole conceptual music videos for the same song. It's just one has a featured rapper and one is just TeaMarr. So I love this, like it must be fun to be Issa Rae and be like, damn, here's an artist who's going to like bring a lot of her own ideas and stuff to the table, and how do we support that and create visuals that are going to like create a following for this person. So I think music videos are so powerful in this way. And so I love that there are 2 of them. So in the first one, it kind of reminds me of that Black Mirror episode where a woman gets shipped this human like thing in a package, and she kind of has to like teach it how to be human. And so TeaMarr, oh no, that's the second one. That's the second one. The first one is not the Black Mirror package one. The first one is there's a conveyor belt, and they're like, oh, I love their outfits too, like the styling and everything. It's like there's a bunch of Black women with these denim jumpsuits on and red bandanas. So, like auto body shop or whatever, but like looking super cute with like gold hoops and braids and all this. And there's like a whiteboard, and the concept of the video is trying to build the perfect man. So it's so funny. They've got parts and tools everywhere. And then they've got these different men who look like they could be extras or characters in Insecure on the conveyor belts. And the whole thing starts with her walking into a therapist's office, and Issa Rae is her therapist. And she's daydreaming in the therapist's office about building a man. And that's where the music video is based. So it's just amazing. I love the creativity. I love the color. There's some Haitian in there. It's great. So definitely go check out Kinda Love, the movie, I think they call it. It's like a 6-minute music video. And then the second one. Okay, so we're back to the Black Mirror, like android, human looking android that like in a box sort of idea. And so it's so funny. Someone pulls up with the package and is like, yeah, it's like, you got a dead body in here. She's like, shut up, just put it out back. And then she like opens the box, turns it on, starts to teach you how to dance and teach you how to snuggle her and like all these things. So funny. And then the thing starts to take on a life of its own, kind of like it does in Black Mirror. And she has to, by the end, she has to kill it with a hose. Like she's just like spraying a hose, and it's like smoking and combusting. So, and D Smoke's verse is great, and it's a great collab, and it's just like an entirely, like there's 2 beautiful, aesthetically similar videos with entirely separate manifestations of the same concept. I love it. I love it. Yeah, I'm like, you go, Glenn Coco. Like the whole group, the whole team, just I eat it up. So definitely next time you're on YouTube or Spotify but I love watching the music videos. So I would say go to YouTube and watch these music videos, and just it's also so nice to see a young Black woman objectifying men, because we, as Black women, or Black queer folks, we get objectified all the time, and it's so casual and normal to everybody else. So it's just so fucking badass. It's just like such an amazing bitch slap in the face watching a TeaMarrr music video. So yeah, definitely go check her out. And if you're a music producer or singer or rapper, or you love Issa and what she's doing, definitely check out the Raedio. They're sending out these things lately with text. If you just put the Raedio spelled RAE instead of radio, it's RAEDIO. They're texting opportunities, and I don't know. It seems like a really dope community to be a part of. So, as an artist. So I'm definitely tapping on that door and crossing my fingers and, see what happens. But okay, that's it for music. And we're going to take a short break and move on to TV. Television. Okay, welcome back. Na 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 na. I feel like if I tried, I could have a really good NPR radio voice, but fuck that. I don't want to button myself up like that. So we back. As you know, this is the Issa Rae episode, and instead of focusing on Insecure like everybody else, we're focusing on other side sort of production things that are going on, films, her web series, her radio music company. So brings me to, I wanted to say which brings me to, it's not a good transition, but which brings me to the Misadventures of Awkward Black Girl. All right, so I think the first season came out in 2012, and I remember reading Issa's book that's under the same title, The Misadventures of Awkward Black Girl. And I think what had happened was she was in theater at Stanford, and then she moved to New York, and then I think someone broke in and like stole her laptop and everything, and she was like, this is not working out. So moved back to LA, and then started with anyone she could muster up the web series The Misadventures of Awkward Black Girl. And I love seeing artists before they get funding, like before they blow up, before they're famous. I love seeing the root in the meat, like the heart of what they're doing. Because Margaret Cho said it, I think, she said, like, once you find your story, you end up like telling it again and again and again in maybe like slightly different ways, but that's your thing. And Issa the whole time has went with like the awkward thing and then graduated to the insecure thing, but still staying in the same vein. I'm trying to do this with mulatto, like identifiers. they help to define who you are and what you bring. And so Issa knew right off the bat, awkward's gonna be my angle, and she does it so well. So the first episode is called, and I also want to encourage you to watch it on YouTube because it's completely free. And so no matter where you live, which country, whatever, you actually, there's probably some countries where you can't watch it. So I shouldn't say it doesn't matter where you live, but it is not restricted to US television streaming subscription programming. Whew, mouthful. So the first episode is called The Stop Sign. And I love it. I love how washed out the shots are. I love how bad the sound is. I love how, like, yeah, she's I don't think she's wearing makeup. I think these are her clothes. Like, it's so homegrown. I live for that shit. And so it was so great to go back and see it. She's got the awkward coworker who she accidentally got drunk at a work party and slept with. She's got, these characters are so funny. Like, she meets another awkward girl, Cece, who becomes her best friend. She's got the hot guy at work, but she's not sure if it's going to work out. And it's so good. Like, the first season is, I think, so fun and so good. And Issa's like doing some she's getting like credited as like director as well as actor and producer or writer on some of the episodes. It's just so funny because her tone and her writing has come through since episode 1 of Awkward Black Girl, like all the way through Insecure and even her movies. She's really developed this great sort of subtle but actually funny as fuck style of humor. So yeah, I highly recommend these episodes. Yeah. Season 2. So by the end of season 1, and this is another thing I love because I've crowdfunded for so many projects, and now I'm on Patreon, and we're relying on your audience to help fund your work. She was doing Kickstarter campaigns, and she, at the end of some of the episodes in season 1, she's like, yeah, we're not going to have, another episode unless we reach our goal of da-da-da on Kickstarter. So like, here's the link below. It's so awesome to see her garner the support of the community to make her vision happen. It's so badass. Like, you really have to believe in yourself. And I think she has such a good, even though she is awkward, she don't confuse it with her not believing in herself. Like Issa Rae is, yeah. Her character in the web series in Misadventures of Awkward Black Girl is called Jay. And her birth name is Joissa. So yeah, it's great. I love it. I love how many times she wears like zip up hoodies and like just like throws on a random pair of earrings, and apparently she shaved her head right before she started the show. So like she's got short hair and all the lesbian jokes. Like, I've totally been through that where I've shaved all my hair off and gone through the lesbian jokes. So yeah, by the end of season 1, she has raised all the money she needed to get all the episodes out. And Pharrell has a YouTube, like at this point, back in like 2012, 2013, he was doing this thing called I Am Other. And it was basically like his YouTube channel where he could produce other people's projects, lifting other people up. He's always been so good at that. So then Issa, you can still tell that by the weird formatting of the credits and like still some aspects, you can tell that the camera is the camera, like maybe they got a better camera, but it's still the same crew. It's the same tone. It's the same flavor. We got a better camera. We got more people to help out. We got like more crew. And so this lifting up that Pharrell did for The Misadventures of Awkward Black Girl for its second season was so instrumental, because you can see, first, not only can you see the difference in like the camera quality, but you can see how the ideas become more expansive and the jokes become more fantastical. And it's so funny. Like, some of my favorite moments were where she hates her job. She works at Gut Busters, which is like a pill for losing weight. So she hates her job and she's searching for a new job. So she's at work perusing Craigslist, and the job is like to be a tour guide of the Middle Passage slave ship. So she's daydreaming, and she does this whole scene. So suddenly we're in the California African American Museum, and there is a slave ship exhibit, and she's dressed as an enslaved woman, and she's I don't want to like give too much away, but like it's just so funny to see her in these like sketch comedy bits, kind of in the style of Blackish. Just hilarious. And all the coworkers in the office are like other people on the ship, or like in the situation. So funny. And I love California African American Museum. If you haven't gone and you live in the area, definitely go. But just to see her like engage with a community landmark like that in such a funny ass way, like a sketch, like SNL, Key and Peele type of way, like it was so funny to rewatch. Another one that was really funny was and that was episode 4, The Search, on season 2. So in case you want to go back and see these moments, I think it was at the end. It was towards the end of season 2, like episode 11 or something. The old lady, it's about like her fear that she's going to end up working at this Gutbusters job forever. And so she gets up in like old lady drag, she's got like gray hair and wrinkles on her forehead and stuff. Oh my God, hilarious. And again, like this is the lift that we get from Pharrell executive producing. He simply gave them more money to complete, her vision. So yeah, I highly recommend it, especially if you want to watch Insecure, but you can't watch it because of like subscription issues. Like not everyone can get HBO. It's such a bougie streaming service. So don't feel like you're missing out. Definitely check out Misadventures of Awkward Black Girl on YouTube. So great. So great. Issa Rae, we love you. And thank you for creating Black history. You are Black history. Motherfucker. Okay. I think that's all I want to give you for now. Okay, a couple more things. Cool to see that Amy and Yobi, one of the writers for Insecure, I think throughout the whole entire thing, was also a writer for Awkward Black Girl. I was like, oh my God, I recognize that name. Amazing. So they worked together on Awkward Black Girl, and then Issa brought her back on for Insecure. Love that. Love that carry through. I think O.C. Smith was another one. Oh, and Denise Davis, because there was a Denise Davis at the Johnson Center of Integrative Studies. And anytime I would watch Insecure, I would be like, Denise Davis? But it was spelled wrong. I mean, it wasn't spelled the way that I knew it to be spelled. So I was like, no, definitely not that Denise Davis. But yes, she also had Denise Davis as a producer on Awkward Black Girl, brought Denise along for Insecure. And then one of my favorite bring alongs is, oh, dang, I'm blanking on his name. Tristan Winger. I think it's Tristan Winger. He plays the quiet guy, like the baby voice ninja at the office. And anytime he speaks, anytime he speaks, you can't hear what he's saying. he's gonna talk like this. Like, he talks like that. It's hilarious. There's just like so many jokes within the characters on Misadventures, but okay, and then he on Insecure is the blood, like the gangbanger blood who replaces everything with bees. Like, yeah. I can't think of a good example right now, but you know what I'm talking about if you watch Insecure. He's hysterical. He's like the like annoying neighbor, the annoying like gangsta ass neighbor. And his daughter, he's like always with his daughter, and he's like being such a good dad, but also like so gangsta and so awesome. I love to see these people like who were brought along. So dope. Love it, love it, love it, love it. Let's see. Is there anything else that I want to talk about? No. I want to try to not be too long-winded. So I'm going to cut it off here. We're going to switch to movies, but more Issa Rae. So let's do it. Movies. Film. All right, welcome back. Welcome to the film section. So it's Issa Rae Day, it's Black History Month, and we're going to talk about a couple of the movies that Issa's done. So, and I'm going to tell you, it's not that I didn't have faith in my girl, but I didn't want to see these. I can't believe I'm saying this, but I didn't want to see these movies during Insecure. I support Issa and everything, but I couldn't handle if one of them was a flop or if there was some sort of like character that was like so different from her character on Insecure. Like, sometimes I just want to stay in one realm of an actor's work. And so I purposely did not watch The Photograph and Lovebirds. I could have. I had the subscription. I had the access, but I did not. And I finally watched them the other day. I was like, I need to catch up. I need to catch up on my Issa Rae. And Insecure is over, and there's a hole in my heart, so this is perfect. And so I watched The Photograph and I watched Lovebirds. Both of these movies are executive produced by Issa Rae, as well as starring Issa Rae. So love that, because agency. And I want to start with Lovebirds. So Lovebirds is streaming on Netflix, at least right now in the States. Who knows what will be next week. So okay. So Lovebirds is one of these movies where, you know, there's a struggling relationship and something intense happens in the beginning, and, you know, pandemonium ensues, which brings the couple closer together and, restores faith in the relationship. Nothing we have not seen or heard before. But her partner, the actor who plays her partner, her partner in crime, literally her acting partner, is Kumail Nanjiani. Now, Kumail, I think I think like The Big Sick was like the first movie where he really broke through or something, but he's a Pakistani American comedian and he's amazing. I love so much of the projects that I've seen him in. So definitely go check out Kumail. But at first I was like, okay, this is interesting. You know what I mean? Like it wasn't the first choice I would think to star opposite Issa Rae in like a romance comedy. Rom-com. Oh my God. There's a word for that. In a rom-com. So, but boy, was I pleasantly surprised. Okay, so not only is the writing of the script great and the jokes are so funny and they're both comedian. I mean, they're both comedians. And so it's hysterical to have their back and forth. Like they just do it so well. Their comedic chemistry is hilarious. And I don't know. Like I can imagine them filming these scenes and like cracking up in between. But they play this couple that's like on the outs, so they're not very happy with each other, and it's just, I don't know, like they both do this like nerd, especially Kumail does this like nerdy humor really well, and then Issa with her awkward humor is a really fun combo. So me and my mom laughed all the way through this movie. I mean, it was funny from beginning to end. We had to stop and do something in the middle, and it was just a blast. Like it was so much fun. So many funny, ridiculous scenes. I don't want to give too much away, but Lovebirds was, I think something else that was unique about the storyline is that, so they're driving and they're in the movie is set in Louisiana. So they're driving in Louisiana, like in New Orleans or something. And this, like, they accidentally hit this biker while they're in a fight. And the biker's like down the ground. And then this guy, they come out of the car. And this guy kind of comes up and wants to kill the biker, says he's a policeman, takes their car and runs this biker over. So it's hilarious because then these two white people come up and they see Issa Rae and Kumail. I forget their characters' names. Leilani and Gibran. And so they see Leilani and Gibran, and you like on the face of it, race in America wise, you see black woman and Muslim man. And so, with our racist media interpretations and stigmatizations and all this stuff, they look really fucking guilty. So they're like, there's a moment in the diner where they're like trying to recap and understand what's happening. It's so funny, and they're just cracking on each other for like looking guilty, and it's just so funny. It's so good because they're taking this racist thing, like, okay, if it's brown people and it's black people, then, and it's crime, then they probably did it. But then there's like a funny twist, most like good way portion of the way through the movie where I won't give it away. I won't give it away. But it's hysterical. I highly recommend you see Lovebirds. What was funny was that both of these films take place, the photograph is filmed in between Louisiana and London. And then yes. And then there's this whole joke in Lovebirds about them being on the amazing race. And then this isn't that big of a spoiler, but at the very end, they do this like funny little bit where they're like in Amazing Race. And I think they're in London. And so I was like, damn, okay, Issa Rae executive produced both of these. So did she swindle 2 movies in 2 cities at the same time? Bitch, you're amazing. That's next level. So when I found out that they both came out at the same time and they both took place in New Orleans or Louisiana and London or the UK, I was like, what? That's too coincidental to be not on purpose. So good job with like the management or the team, y'all are crushing it. Like 2 amazing movies. So, all right, so that's Lovebirds. Now I'm going to transition to the photograph. And if you're an Issa Rae stan like me, you know that one of her favorite movies, or maybe her favorite movie, is Love and Basketball. So, and then if you've seen like Love Jones, I would say that was another strong reference for the photograph as well. If you haven't seen Love and Basketball and Love Jones, it's Black History Month. So go ahead and see what you can stream and definitely get into those, because those aren't just good movies. Like, those are classics. So with those references in mind, the photograph is about it's one of these flipping timeline movies where it's about what's her character in this one? Did I write it down? No, damn it. Okay. So Issa's character in the photograph, her mother dies and she leaves behind a photograph, and Issa's like an art museum curator. So she finds a photograph and has an encounter with Lakeith Stanfield's character. So fun to see him in starring opposite Issa Rae, because we all know like Lakeith is like that sensitive black dude, like who hangs out with all the black dudes, but is just like artsy and creative and sensitive. Like I don't know, that's the vibe I get from Lakeith Stanfield. So Lakeith plays a journalist, and it's oh my god, it's so good. This one is a really good film because like rom-com, fun, fast, this way different pace, way different color, way different tone. So I don't want to just like recap, but I'll say I'll talk about what I like. So I love the way that they started off, which is an interview with the mother, and she was a woman of the arts. She loved photography, she loved taking photographs, and grew up in a house with a mom who wasn't supportive of that necessarily. And she's kind of like, she likes to travel and run and not necessarily like stick around and deal with things. And so, Issa Rae's character is born to this woman. So she's kind of traumatized from being just shuffled around with on her mom's, gigs and artistic things, stuff like that. But it also focuses on the mother, on who she was and her story. And so it kind of starts out with an old interview of her that was done on a camera by one of her past lovers, who it was like the one that got away situation. And Lakeith Stanfield is interviewing the mother's love interest. I really need to get better at like character names. Sorry about that. I'll do better. But yeah, the way that they flip back and forth and the way that they take time to allow the audience to understand what's happening before the paths intersect is really beautifully done. The movie is beautifully shot. Like the cinematography is so nice, and the music, oh my God. Like, again, Black History Month, like we're talking some really classic music. It was funny watching Lovebirds afterwards because there's this one scene with the Taylor Swift song, and I was like, yeah, Issa wouldn't write that. I don't think she would write that. But conversely, the photograph is filled with like Coltrane and Mos Def and the internet and Solange and Al Green. And one of my favorite things is they have this little running conversation about Drake and Kendrick Lamar. And Issa Rae loves Drake. She's been in a Drake music video, so we know that. But her character also loves Drake. And she feels like he's just so good at getting in touch with those feelings. Whereas I'm in the Lakeith Stanfield camp where he's like, no way, like fuck Drake, Kendrick Lamar all day. And so there's just such a funny sentiment and so Issa Rae. She's like, Kendrick Lamar makes me feel guilty. Oh, I love that. I love that. That hit with me because he does so much like for blackity black folks that it's just funny. It's just funny. She funny. So yeah, love that conversation just built into the script. Again, another really well written, nuanced script. And the characters, I really like how these days we're getting more in terms of characterization of Black folks in film. So the mother, even though she wasn't alive, of course they do flashbacks with her, so she is kind of alive during the film, but not within. She's passed. So her presence within the film and how much it guides Issa's character is really, really well done. Really well done. Oh man, just another one where it's like, damn. And of course, like when you know Issa Rae from Insecure and Lakeith from all these other projects, sometimes you see the same people in projects, and so you're like, okay, this is gonna be, and then fill in the blank in your mind. But both of these films really like, I don't know why I had lower expectations. I don't know what was going on there, but yeah, I really was blown away by both of these films. I want to see them both again, which I don't always want to see something again, but if I really, really fuck with it, I want to see it again. And if we take a step back and look at what Issa Rae is doing, placing herself in rom-com and drama as well, like coming from the comedy dramedy TV show. It's like so spot on. Like, as an actor, you have to decide, do I want to be like, it's not necessarily about like typecasting, because I think you can be typecasted, but as one of these actors who's also a writer and a producer by nature, it's so interesting, because when you're a writer and you're also the actor and producer, you have control. And I think, man, there's just so many Black women in entertainment who have not had the control that Issa Rae has had from the get-go. Now, I said I wasn't going to talk about Insecure, but I watched they did like a little mini documentary on like the end of Insecure and behind the scenes stuff, and it's so fun to watch and sad, but like in a good way. And in that I think she talks about Melina Matsoukas, who is a cinematographer and someone who got her start in music videos, like ludicrous music videos, and Nelly, and like, I don't know, like big early aughts kind of era. And Issa says that she was going to have a meeting with Melina Matsoukas to see if Melina wanted to work on Insecure. And Melina didn't. It was like she was visiting family or something, and she didn't take the meeting seriously. And this is another Black woman. And Issa was pissed. She was like, "Are you serious? Like, this is my baby. You better come correct." That's what she said. And this is to her elder. Like, this is to another Black woman who's been around. And so that to me is so fierce. And that like small tidbit of information is such a big reason of why I love Issa Rae. She believes in herself. She knows what she's doing. She knows she's capable. Is she awkward? Yes. Is she going to be like slighted? Yes. Is her life perfect? No. But what you do when you go out on your own and do things completely DIY from your brain, from your vision, is you take control, especially as a writer, so that when the time is right and when you've put in enough work so that your journey gets you noticed, people want to fund you. People want to invest in you. And for me, as Breezy, like as the career part of Breezy, I have totally taken that path. And if you went to Johnston, you know all about it. Like, I'm so DIY by nature, and I'm such a control freak. So I mean, the whole reason why I learned how to produce music, how to become a producer, it wasn't like one day I was like, I want to become a music producer. No, it wasn't like that. I started rapping in college, And then as it became a little bit more serious, I was sick of being in that position where I had to deliver bars or raps in front of often white men who I didn't really feel super comfortable with, and then they would give me no say in how they were going about mixing or cutting or, creating songs and stuff. And so if you're a rapper like Kendrick Lamar, where you freestyle in your sleep and you're just out here for the bars, not to say that Kendrick can't like produce beats. I'm sure at this point, like he can and has been involved in his own beat production, but I became a producer because I was like, fuck this. I do not want to be giving my voice away because people don't pay you. Like I still don't get paid for verses. Like I collaborate with people I know, but, and I think there was like a couple things in Corona where it was like, yeah, we're doing this funded project and like we can give you 150 euros, but like I don't get paid for my verses like that. So when I saw that, okay, in music, you have the art, you have the performer of the song, you have the writer of the song, you have the producer, the publisher, like all of these people are getting cuts. And I was like, I don't want that. Like, I think I can make my own music. It doesn't seem like brain surgery. So that was my, like, this beautiful thing came out of a frustration. And I don't know that like as much frustration, I don't know if as much frustration was a part of Issa's journey, but I do know that it's super hard identifying as a Black woman and having to convince people around you all the time that you know what you're doing. People want to think you're not aware of yourself, but it's like, no, bitch, I know the shit. And so again, like I look up to Issa Rae and hope to work with her one day, manifestation powers. Hope you're listening, universe. I would love to work with Issa Rae one day because I feel like I'm also that type of creator. But I'm not waiting around for opportunities. Like I also respect everything that Issa is doing with all these different facets of bringing other people's stories to life. I mean, she's got like 3 other pilots or shows, TV shows she's working on with HBO Max right now. Like she's killing it. Behind the scenes, music, TV, film. So to see that is inspiring as fuck. And I know I speak for a lot of people, not just Black women, but Black people, women, really anyone who's out here, especially like in entertainment, TV, comedy, like these sorts of films, and people who have used YouTube and SoundCloud and MySpace and Napster and like all these things throughout the years to live the life that they want to live and create what they want to create with it. And yeah, I love this. Like I think this spirit begets work and success with the people who you look up to. And so, yeah, today feels like high power mode instead of low power mode because normally I'm like, ugh, fuck everything. Like, no, I don't feel supported. I'm not making money. I'm not doing enough. I'm not doing this. I'm not, like beating myself up. But no, I need to remember the Issa Raes, the people who are out here, some other people I think of who took control of the narrative were Abby Jacobson and Alana Glazer with Broad City, which was produced by Amy Poehler. So again, they had help from a person who's almost like an institution, right? Amy Poehler in comedy. If she's helping produce you, like you're in good hands. But what they were able to do for the representation of women, like young women and queers, and like, just, I don't know, like normalizing certain things, certain human behavior that we assign to genders and stuff, but that is just being human. Like, that show, I'll definitely do a podcast on that show eventually, but Rachel Bloom, Rebecca Bunch is her character's name in Crazy Ex-Girlfriend. But Rebecca Bloom is Rachel Bloom. Rachel Bloom is another one. She and Alana Glazer were actually roommates at NYU, and they both, just kept at it. The writing, the comedy or improv, and then made their own shows. And I think Issa Rae, she is kind of like the first Black woman to do it. It's just so wild. Like history, it's living history, because Oprah, like there were none of the ones who came before could have done it this way. And the internet obviously has shaped and influenced so much in terms of the millennial lifetime. But yeah, it's just so dope. And it feels like the floodgates are also open after Issa started her thing. And it's not only because she's doing it for other people and other people are doing it for other people, but it's because other people are inspired like me, and they're like, yep, we can do it too. We can have a piece of the pie. So I know this was a lot. This was a lot of like haranguing. Is that it? Haranguing? There's like a word harangue or something that means to go on and on. I feel like I need to read a dictionary. Like, what happened to my words? What happened to my vocabulary? I need to read more. What else? What else to say about Issa Rae? I'll just say this, that so glad she's here. So glad to have a ray of light in the industry. And I'm not even that stoned right now. Just corny as fuck. And yeah, go Issa. Go Issa, Joe Issa. I think she was married recently to... We love to see a Black girl win, and we love to see it. So yeah, go stan Issa Rae. Watch all of her movies. Little with Marsai Martin and Regina Hall, hilarious. Black Lady Sketch Show, hilarious. Like, just go look Issa Rae up on IMDb and take your pick. She's killing it, looking fine as hell, doing it. Like, what a gorgeous, gorgeous person. And yeah, if you're one of those creators who is aspiring to write, to direct, to do one of these quote unquote lofty things, definitely watch The Misadventures of Awkward Black Girl, because you see someone who is now a powerhouse at their most like new and green and vulnerable. And I find that to be super, super inspiring because it makes me feel like I can do it too. So thank you for my TED Talk on Issa Rae. No, I'm such a stan. I'm such a fan, and I love it. I like the entertainment industry when it comes to like Black women, Black queer, like Black men, POC, like the descriptors in my podcast, POC, intersectional feminist, native, like I'm eating it all up. I'm eating it all up. And I think the kids are gonna, hopefully if they sort through the internet and have the right filters, like they'll find the positive stuff. And I think that they're gonna be so much more like well adjusted, The boomers were so repressed. Gen X, we don't really know. Millennials, depressed. I mean, Gen Z is definitely depressed as well. But the pride, I definitely feel there's a wave of pride in Black womanhood. And I think by virtue of that, like Blackness and womanness and queerness, it just feels like there's so much out there. When I was in high school, my senior year, I got a laptop, and I remember being so excited about checking the weather. That's right. There was no like fun shit to do. It was just these apps, that how the Apple has like the apps and stuff. And so I would go to the weather app and I'd be like, wow, I can see what the temp's going to be so I can plan my outfit accordingly. I mean, that was yeah, that was the internet for me, or like that was my experience. It's so for these kids today, I mean, on the one hand, I'm worried. And on the other hand, I'm like, they're fine. They're good. Like there's stuff out there. Whereas like we were so limited, and we weren't really that limited because we did have the internet and it was the 90s or whatever, but just limited in our terms, in our understanding. And I think something I think about a lot in terms of like Black History Month and representation and inclusion and stuff is that we it's this exchange. It's transactional. Someone is going to want something from you, and you either in good spirit give it to them, or you're like, I need this money, and give it to them. And so when it comes to like, there's an article written by the artist Kalila, and I will put it in the show notes. It's called Being a Visible Black Woman in the Music Industry, something like this. And she talks about this transactional nature, and it's capitalism at its worst, where these institutions are like, oh, we need more people of color, we need more queers, we need more this, that, quotas, diversity, inclusion. And she talks about how like for the older generation, for the generations before us, it was enough to be included in terms of like being let in the room, being given the job, being able to do the work or have the opportunity. But the inclusion that millennials are fighting for is like, not only do I want to, not just millennials are fighting for, but I think our generation represents this sentiment of not only do I want to be in the room, but I want you to listen to me. I want to feel like I have a voice. Kalila talks about the Pepsi Kendall situation. Now, if you watch the Pepsi Kendall commercial, it's a travesty. And you can see very clearly that regardless of whether or not there were people of color or disabled folks or like certain people working at certain marginalized communities working at the Pepsi company, regardless of that, they did not have a voice. Because had they had a voice, the Pepsi commercial never would have happened with Kendall Jenner. So, and I'm not going to get into it here right now. I'll like maybe for another time or something, but just I'll put it in the notes, look it up, and then be like, wow, okay, Breezy, I see what you mean. So yeah, this is the underbelly of like my cheerleading of Issa Rae and of independent creators who are taking control of their own narratives. Because we're not only like, yeah, I want to get the job or I want to get in the room. We're like, no, I want to make sure that once I'm in the room, I'm going to have agency. And I think that is what Issa Rae has succeeded at so well. Like, she never compromised her agency. And because of that, she's just been able to grow and grow and expand. And it's just been such a game changer for TV, for Black folks, for women, for humanity. So that's going to wrap up the film section. And we're going to take a short break and do the check-in. Hey, listen, sometimes you gotta check in with yourself.
Check in with yourself.
All right, welcome back. So this is the outro of the check-in section of the Low Power Mode podcast. And this is like the actual low power mode part because I want to talk about how it's okay to not be okay. I have been dealing with really heavy depression since 18 years old. It was a triggering event. And ever since then, it's kind of been like, what's the point? And as we live and grow and get older and wiser, we uncover more of ourselves. And I've uncovered so much of myself, specifically since 2018, when I started the journey with music. And as I said before, like I didn't really choose music, like it chose me, you know. But yeah, I don't know, rapping was something that just felt so comfortable. And like Issa Rae in Awkward, Black Girl, and Insecure, rapping is a way to get out your feelings, you know, aggressively. And so, not always aggressively, but so I went with it. And I didn't know, not as a Black woman, not as an independent artist, I didn't know how much I was going to need protection. My dumbass thought I could just jump out and be like, I'm an artist. Yeah. No, that was not a healthy way to go. Now, you have to live and learn. So I've lived and I've learned. But after taking these huge leaps and really, really, really trying to make music work as a full-time gig for the past, like, really 4 years since 2018. Yeah. 2018. I was like, when was the last time I worked at that shitty restaurant? 2018. So it's crazy. It's honestly nuts because you're like taking this massive leap and you're like, I have no idea what I'm doing. I just know that I'm going after what I'm passionate about. And to kind of be within that leap and then have Corona come sort of crashing everything down. It's taken me until now to really be like, okay, bitch. I mean, yeah, you can make some money from music in the summer, but what's next? And it's like scary and sad, and it doesn't have to be scary and sad because music is always going to be a part of what I do. It's my number one way I can express my like innermost stuff, and even though I don't feel like doing it all the time, I know I'm always going to do it. But yeah, this feeling of like, holy shit, like I already kind of felt like I didn't know what I was doing, but now I have no fucking idea. And that in conjunction with some of the like trauma that I experienced over the past few years, being stuck in Berlin, like not stuck in, well, it kind of was though, stuck in Berlin, without, without income and without an ability to sustainably make a living. It all has been with me so viscerally. And when I got diagnosed with PTSD a couple months ago by the psychiatrist, as I said before, I really didn't understand it. And now I'm like, okay. So you're not okay. You arguably haven't been. Besides, like I had a couple good Johnston years, like couple good late college years, but you haven't really been okay outside of that experience as an adult. And I just have been breaking down like constantly. I tried pharmaceutical drugs to no avail, and I'm still relying on cannabis, and I'm in teletherapy now, but I'm not okay. Like I don't feel good most of the time. And a lot of it is in my physical body. Like where I'll mentally be like, all right, we're gonna, do this today, or like, let's focus on this one thing. And then my body will just be like, nope, no. And oftentimes it's my stomach. It's where I hold all my tension and everything. And so last night, we'd been waiting for weeks. My mom and we got tickets to see Bob the Drag Queen. I'm a huge fan of Bob Drag Queen. And he's so funny, and he's non-binary and queer and black. And so I'm like, all the things. And so I was so excited for the show, but like a few hours before, I just felt so tired and shitty. And I was like laying down in the bed, and I was like, no, you got this. So you just like keep going, So I kept going. We made it to the venue. The show was amazing. Got to see like a Filipino American Filipino American comedian, like a white, super like butch lesbian, young, gay woman comedian, and Bob the Drag Queen. So, like that kind of comedy lineup in a really old and beautiful theater where Chris Rock and like the greats, Margaret Cho and Eddie Griffin and some of the like the biggest names have come through. And then Bob the Drag Queen. I mean, incredible. So went to see Bob. It was amazing. After the show, it was just a stupid situation where like I had to pee, went up to the bathroom. Obviously, it was way too overwhelming for my sensitive ass. So I left, went somewhere else because my mom was checking on the bill. And then, because something got messed up in our bill and I had to pee. And so I went and found this other bar. And I just couldn't help it. I cried the whole way home after seeing Bob the Drag Queen, a drag queen comedy show. So like in terms of seizing your joy, that's like the best thing you can, like I couldn't have done any better in terms of planning a fun activity. And my mom and I went together. We went to San Jose, which I had never really been to before. So it was cool to see the downtown. But I was just completely off. And I've just, like there's so many days where it'll be like, come on, you got this. And it's, my body will be like, no. And so I guess for anyone who deals with trauma in the body and doesn't have a lifestyle set up to like be super in tune with it. I mean, and I say that, but like my lifestyle, like I'm working from home, like I can be in tune with my body, but I don't know. I just feel like between hormones and maybe lasting effects of the pharmaceuticals or weed, chronic weed smoking, or I don't know, like smoke weed every day, like not giving it up. But I don't know. Is it that I try to look for answers? I try to not blame myself, but it's tough when it feels like everyone else is able-bodied and is getting through their days without mental breakdowns. So yeah, if any of this resonates, like I'm sending love to you and I hear you and I'm with you. And I think we can try to see it as our body telling us things or even telling us that something's not right. And for me, it's scary to not know what that is and to not know what I need to give to myself. But you got to take it one day at a time. I got to take it one day at a time, one moment at a time. And for me right now, focusing on this podcast, focusing on my upcoming music video, and then I think I need a break. So if you can afford to take a break, if you can build in, maybe you like, if you work 9 to 5 and you have like, let's say you have Saturday off, instead of just like having it be off, you can be intentional about like, okay, I'm going to bathe with lavender on Saturday or something like this, I'm trying these small things and I think it makes a difference. I think when it comes to mental health, it's this huge combination of, I think they call them like endo and endogenic factors or something, but it's such a complicated algorithm that I think there's a bunch of 5% things. That's what I call them. So like vitamin D is like a 5% thing where it's like, is it going to change your life? No. But could it maybe bring you from 80 to 85? Yeah. So there's these small things that I try to build in, like meditation and things like that. So yeah, if you're one of those people who this is relatable content for, like, again, I'm with you, I love you, and we got this. We got this. Even when we feel like we don't. For the most part, we do, and we live and we survive. And it's hard, but it's like, okay, what are we doing now? So, cheers to all my brothers, sisters, NBs, agender, asexual folks, my alphabet gang, my black folks, my community, like back in the 80s, I don't know if this is common knowledge, but that's how they would distinguish the gays. They would say, community. Who's community? So wild. Anyway, don't know what I'm talking about anymore, but thank you for being here, and happy Black History Month, and do something nice for yourself today or tomorrow or this week or whenever you can, but do it. All right, until next time.
I've been in low power mode. In low power mode. Been in low power mode all year. Think it's time to switch it up to high gear. I've been in low. I've been in low power mode all year. Think it's time to switch it up to high gear.